Said, it's been very interesting to see how it is that young golfers get into the game and get themselves, just primed for the big time. And that's exactly why today I've got this young man with me, Aidan Gasche, who I'm going to be chatting to about what he's been up to. He's got himself a scholarship in the United States, and it's a golfing scholarship. Good morning to you, Aidan, and I think firstly, congratulations, definitely in order for what you've managed to do for yourself.
All right, thanks, Kendall. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Now, Aidan, tell us a little bit about what it is that you've been up to. I mean, I just described that you've got yourself a golfing scholarship into the United States, which means that you now study in the United States, but it's on the back of your golf. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, for the past couple of years, I've been working really hard to go over to America, and I finally got the opportunity. I shaved my handicap down to a 2 handicap and then went over to America, and now I'm playing there.
Now, fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the scholarship itself. What does it mean and how does it work?
Well, it's a half scholarship, so half of my fees are being paid for, and my housing and my food over there in America. And the university I'm at is very sports orientated, so it's mainly focused on the sports. So that's what we do.
What's the name of the university?
Lindenwood University.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So right now we're looking at pictures of you taking. Oh, this is your golf swing. This is.
Yeah.
Now, is this on the back of this form that you got the scholarship? How did you get it?
A lot of searching and a lot of hard work. I just applied to various different universities and sent in clips to the universities and the coaches over there. And I finally, well, it took a while, but I did get into a university. So,
okay, so a lot of people want to study in the best university possible.
Yeah.
A lot of parents want to send their child to the best university possible. And on the back of very many different things. It could be academic transcripts and academic performance, could be sporting performance. But to look for a university around the world on the back of golf, what put that bee in your bonnet? What put that idea in your head that, you know what, I can actually get higher education, tertiary education through golf?
Well, when I was younger, I always had big dreams. I didn't want to stay in South Africa, so whatever it is I did, whether it be soccer, cricket, hockey, when I was playing back in the day, I knew I wanted to go overseas for that. So grade 11, I started taking my golf really seriously, and I knew America was the place to be for golf in order to progress as a professional. So the chance that I got, I took it.
How long have you been in the States for?
Since January this year.
So how has your golf changed in that time from before you went there? Because you've been back for a couple of weeks now on holiday with your family.
Yeah.
How has your golf changed and how has it been affected by this?
Well, in America, I have coaching and we practice every single day. And we practice and we play 9 holes every single day. And now that I'm back here, I've taken my foot off the pedal a bit because I'm with family and I'm enjoying my holiday. So not having a coach around and not being able to practice every single day does take a bit of a knock, but I'm going back now and I'm going to get back into it.
Let's talk a little bit about getting back into it, because you're also studying. You're not just playing golf every day, 9 holes, practice every day. You're also studying. What's your major?
Business administration.
All right. Now, so the idea behind you doing business admin as well as golf, can you give us an idea, a little bit of a nutshell of what's in your head going forward? What's in your future as either a golfer or an agent or a bit of both? What's your plan?
Yeah. Well, the goal for me right now is just to get my degree, because at any point I could injure my back and not have anything to fall back on. So I think it's very important to have that degree for a solid foundation, just in case anything does happen. But as soon as I get my degree, I'm going to try and push for a professional career in golf.
Now, you chose to go to the States because you did your research and found that worked for you.
Yeah.
What's the difference between what we find in terms of the NELS Academy, for example? We had like greats such as, well, greats to be, like Brendan Gracie, he comes from there. Why didn't you go that route?
I just found it was a very long route to go, start in South Africa, and from South Africa you go to the European tour, and from there you go to America. So I found it was a very long route and I didn't really want to take that route, so I thought America would be the best place to start for me.
First thing that comes up when one talks about an entity putting sponsorship into any sporting code is there's something in it for the entity. Now, golf is an individual sport. What does this university get from your involvement and from them sponsoring you?
Well, we are entered in a lot of amateur tournaments in America, like as a school. So we are televised on ESPN overseas. So the school gets a lot more exposure by having us as like sort of representing them and stuff like that.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, how did you get into golf? Because you mentioned a little earlier that you, like most children, will try their hand and their feet at very many different sports.
Yeah.
Soccer, you mentioned. Did you play hockey as well?
Yeah, hockey, cricket.
How did you get into golf? And how did it actually become that it's golf that you focus on?
Yeah, it all comes down to my granddad, I think, because he bought me my first set of plastic clubs when I was 2 years old, and then him being a very good golfer sort of pushed me into the sport, so grateful for that.
Now, your journey to become a golfer, I would imagine that there are one or two players who you've seen who inspire you to greater heights. Who is it that you see in your mind you'd like to emulate or even better in terms of your golfing career?
Yeah, Rory McIlroy.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think he's a fantastic golfer. He's got a great swing, and I just love the way he practices. He's got a unique way of practicing, and he's very involved in the gym as well. And the gym work he does is not like your normal powerlifting movements. It's more golf orientated, and I love that. And I'm trying to emulate that and do that every single day. So
now, Gary Player has once said that putting is the secret. Putting is the key to winning golf tournaments. How do you take that on in terms of your playing style? And also maybe give us a description of what your playing style is, and tell us a little bit about what Gary Player says about putting.
Yeah, well, putting's very difficult for me. I'm struggling with my putting a bit, but I think the key is just to practice your putting every single day. And for example, I practice my putting and short game for at least 1 to 2 hours a day. And I think that's key because on the putting green, that's where you win your money, win your tournaments. So I try and do my best to practice 1 hour to 2 hours of putting every single day, and the rest follows.
So where are the strengths in your game?
I'd say off the tee. Yeah, driving, hitting around 300 meters off the tee at least with my driver, and fairly straight, so that's the best I could ask for.
Yeah, no, because Gary Player said something about how one needs to practice like you're going to war, and Tiger himself used to practice up to 8 hours, and it seems like that is the way to do it. Just focus on what it is you want to achieve and keep going.
Yeah.
In terms of the scholarship and you being in the United States, are there any other South Africans that you've encountered that are either within your vicinity or anywhere else in the States? It must be a little bit lonely sometimes, I suppose, not hearing the accents you used to. I'm glad to hear and see that you haven't adopted an American accent yet. Well done.
Not yet.
Well done to you. But yeah, any other South Africans that you see when you're out there?
At my university, I'm the only South African, but I do have a Zimbabwean friend there. And I have a friend who's in Vegas who went to school with me playing tennis there. So, but it is kind of lonely where I am because I'm the only South African. But yeah, it's not many South Africans up there.
Biggest challenges you faced in the last 6 months?
Being away from my family.
Yeah.
I think before I left for America, the longest I was away from my family was 2 weeks. And now I just came back 6 months away from my family. So it was hard getting used to, but I'm getting used to it now.
Now tell us, in terms of like becoming a pro, there's a process that you're involved in right now. What's the game plan? What path are you going to follow?
Well, as soon as I get my degree, I'm going to try and push to go into the web.com tour, which is just below the PGA tour. And then you have to qualify and get a certain amount of earnings to qualify and get your pro card. And then from there you get onto the PGA, and that's where I want to start.
When are you going back to the States? You're leaving in a couple of days?
Wednesday. I go back on Wednesday.
And how long is this trip going to be for this time?
Only 3 months. It's a short semester.
And then you go back again, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Well done to you. Congratulations for getting yourself picked up and noticed by a university outside of South Africa, and wishing you the best in your endeavors.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, there you have it, Aidan Gasche, ladies and gentlemen, a young, up-and-coming amateur golfer who's looking to become a pro golfer and make his name in the world and become as big as the Henrik Stensons, the Rory McIlroys, who he has looked up to in the past. Now, moving on to other sporting news, Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov has recorded the biggest win of his career when he beat Nick Kyrgios of Australia in the final of the Cincinnati Open tennis tournament. The 7th-seeded player defeated Kyrgios in straight sets to win his first ever Masters 1000 event. In the women's final, 4th-seeded Spaniard Garbine Muguruza crushed Simona Halep of Romania in less than an hour.
Dimitrov was one of the informed players at the tournament. He reached the final without dropping a set. At 22, Kyrgios was the youngest Cincinnati finalist since Novak Djokovic in 2009 and also chasing his first big title. But Kyrgios made 31 unforced errors and was completely outplayed by the Bulgarian. One break of serve in each set gave Dimitrov a 6-4, 7-5 victory and a massive confidence boost ahead of the start of the year's final Grand Slam, the US Open, next week.
It's an amazing feeling. What can I say? It was one of my greatest weeks out here, and it just feels good. Feels good to win, especially leading up to the Open. I think it's a step forward to me now. I just need to hold out to that momentum and keep on going with the same work that I've put in so far.
Dimitrov is now back in the top 10 on the latest world rankings. He starts the week at number 9, up 2 places from last week. Meanwhile, Muguruza was dominant in her match against 2nd-seeded Halep. The Romanian's game fell apart as she continued her bid for the number 1 ranking. Muguruza kept Halep pinned to the baseline. Halep failed to find a rhythm and committed 20 unforced errors. The Wimbledon champion raced to a 6-1 6-love victory, clinching her 2nd major title in as many months.
For Spanish tennis in Cincinnati, as Garbine Muguruza becomes the first ever Spanish winner.
It's a great way of finishing the tournament. Very pleased the way I played, and I felt like I increased my level through the matches.
With the win, Muguruza moved up to number 3 on the latest world rankings. Liesl Zankel, SABC News.
All right, there we go. Thanks very much for having joined us. Sure hope that you enjoyed the show, and definitely hoping that moving forward we get more of these kind of interviews that we just had with Aidan Gasche. Young people who are doing it for themselves and covering all bases to make sure that they enjoy life and also make a difference to those around them. Sure hope you enjoyed it. Do let us know what you thought of the show, and we're going to be leaving you with the weather forecast because we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning on Newsroom. Until then, Lisaling Sindli.